I did say I'd first look at the UI and some modules, but I feel looking at the manual is super important. It's something I still do. I still reference the manual for what exactly modules do, formulas, what have you. Also, in order for this to work for me, so everyone can see the right clicks and stuff, I have to share my desktop, which is different from using a sort of scene-based stream. So we're going to jump into SynthEdit here, and I'm not 100% sure if we can see the desktop. I'm just going to File, New, and Insert, and yeah, so we can see the right-click menus, which is the reason I have to share the desktop. Otherwise, you can't see them. That aside, we are in SynthEdit here. If you're a first-time user, then this is what you'll be seeing. Obviously, File, New. On the left here, we have the modules. These are all the modules that you can drag and drop or double-click and they'll pop in. You should probably drag and drop as the kind of Control-C, Control-V, double-click pop in. Sometimes it throws modules in random places and you kind of have to hunt them down. On the right here, we have parameters and names, not. So starting a new project, you want to bring in a container. Just plop it down. Now this is your main container. This is the top of the food chain, so to speak. And what I usually do, because this is probably, I'm pretty sure this ends up being, the name of your VST or AU. I specifically focus on VST, so I won't be talking about AU a lot. However, what I like to do right off the bat is name this container. So we're going to call this a quick synth. And then from there, I like to grab it from here. Actually, you can see my chat and my other boxes here. Just let me get rid of those. Look at that. And I'm going to leave chat open for a few more minutes. So yeah, copy from there, Control-C, File, Save As, right away. There also is another problem here where sometimes when you click the File Edit menu, everything's blanked out like this, grayed out, and you just have to click it again, everything will reactivate. It's just a small bug that the developer has not yet looked at. So Save As, I'm going to throw this right on my desktop, and we're going to call it Quick Synth. Save. So now we have a container here, and we have to populate stuff inside the container. And we're going to do this straight off the bat. Actually, we're not going to jump into that. That's kind of pumping the gas a bit too hard. So we've looked at the UI. Let's look at the UI a bit more here. Let's look at the File menu, Systems here. So New, Open, Close, Save, Save As, Export VST. Under Export VST, see this is where when you save a file, under that name, it'll pop up here as product and file name. Plugin ID is also important. You don't want two plugins with the same ID. Your manufacturer, this will likely come with, I think you actually have to make that, because my JWP I put in there, I do believe. So you could type in 4 of whatever, alphanumeric, I do believe numeric, and number of presets, this has come later. Latency compensation, again, this is a bit more intermediate. It has to deal with some modules create latency, and there's 3 different sections here. There is more details on the SynthEdit website under documentation. Plugin is Synth. This is important when you're creating your top level container. You can have inputs and outputs. Generally, MIDI inputs is important for creating a synth, or audio inputs are important for creating effects. The outputs, I don't believe that VST can actually have a synth that has effect inputs. This is a restriction to VST, something they've just always had. So imagine for a second you're trying to make a VST that's based on the input from your audio card, like your microphone input or whatever, like you're trying to generate noise and channel it through filters to create harmonics. It's not possible. So plugin as synth is important. Once you have outputs there and inputs, you can turn this on, which will tell your host that this is a generator and not of effect. This is getting kind of long-winded. Um, However, I'm doing my best to keep things simple here. Unregistered NAG user. So as a licensed user myself, I do have this option. This will, I believe, make a pop-up screen for the demo version of your release, I suppose. I don't think you'd click that on a final release. Moving on, mono use OK. I'm not 100% sure what this does. I do believe this makes it so your inputs and outputs, you can separate them in the host as far as channeling things in and out. Not 100% sure. Output as stereo pairs, I believe same thing, kind of the opposite of mono use OK. Whereas when you bring in your VST to the host, it pairs the two outputs. Say you have like two inputs, two outputs, it'll only make them one. And then when you're routing inside your host, yeah, in and out. Copy additional files. This does not really work in SynthEdit 1.4, 64-bit. Am I even? Yeah, okay, I'm sure. Oh yeah, I guess yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to check my stream, make sure I'm not just everybody staring at a intro screen. I should bring up my four-way guy. Man, I don't really need to know. How do I get rid of that now? Okay, go away. Alright. Info nag text. So I guess this aligns with the nag user info. I'm not sure really where that goes. Perhaps in properties or somewhere. So yeah, that's the export box. Oops. I'm not exporting anything right now. Properties. I don't even think I've ever looked at this, you know. I've never actually. I don't know if this is new or I just completely ignored it. I guess when you open this file, you know, the SynthEdit SE1 file, autoplay on open, message to open, display on open. File properties. Interesting. I've never seen that before. So edit, undo, redo. Undo and redo inside SynthEdit are really risky. I recommend not using them. It does cause crashes, or it does take forever to undo or redo things. Cut, copy, paste, delete, pretty straightforward. Move to front, move to back. So that's important for your panel or GUI interface. So look at it in a bit, select all, of course, select all. Find and replace is an interesting screen if you have modules somewhere. In your project, you can, type the name, this top part name, you want to look for that. You go quick synth, and it'll find that for you. Of course, it's already highlighted. So there's not much that can happen there. But yeah, it will find, and then when it has the module highlighted, you can pick from something else to replace it. I guess I can maybe try that right now. I doubt that'll do anything though. Quick synth container. We want to replace it with a container, so we're gonna go replace and nothing because oh, that's something. Next, yeah, replace. Okay, so it replaces it with a container. Unfortunately, it didn't change the name, which is strange. However, yeah, it does find it. Moving forward, actually should rename this part GUI. Oh well, it's just gonna have to be GUI. And I guess I don't have my highlight on the bottom of the screen either. Bear with me, I'll toss that on. Copy and desktop. Yeah, drop that there. Paste reference. Yeah, okay. That works, right? Oh, yeah, and I forgot to throw my mug up. Where is it? It's like a little pop-up face here. Doesn't want to work out. Oh well. Why isn't it working? Should be working. Control Alt. There I am. Mwah. Anyway, okay, so there should be an alignment title there now. Okay, so moving forward, get a little bit of a streaming document tutorial here as well. Audio, I don't really use these buttons. It's just start and stop audio engine. And the help SynthEdit help. This brings up the help box, which is super great for referencing. And all sorts of stuff here and there. We'll look at that shortly. And the audio engine, it looks like it's on now. So this is the button I usually turn to. You can push the space bar, but there's probably situations where you have something highlighted and you try to hit space and it doesn't work. So this is my go-to here for me. And these icons here, they're there. They're what are they called? I can't think of the word. You know, when they're pictures that represent something, like who uses a disk anymore for save. Yeah, I don't use those at all. This is the preset manager here. Again, this doesn't come till like way later until you're done your synth and you start developing synths or presets rather. Back into the help. I've never actually looked at online news group or online privacy statement about SynthEdit. This gives you a pop-up screen here. This is licensed to me, JWP, version number, build, blah blah, modules available. This is kind of important. This shows you how many modules you have here. Copyright 2019. That should probably say 2022, but whatever. All right.